I don't think I have to tell any Ohioan the importance of moving forward. My heart aches for the businessmen and women who have not been able to work, who are looking at savings going down every day. The people who work in those businesses, people who are unemployed. One cannot overstate the tragedy of this. So we've got to get moving. We've got to get people back to work. We've got to open things up. And at the same time, we've got to protect Ohioans. So let's talk about how we are going to move forward. And let me just say, add one more thing, and the Lieutenant Governor the other day did a very, very good job talking about this. There are many health results when the economy goes down, and they're not good. Depression goes up, domestic violence goes up, and I could go on and on. So these are things that are directly related to people's well-being, directly related to their health. The anxiety of not having a paycheck, anxiety of not knowing how you're going to take care of your family. So these are all things that impact people's lives. I've talked a lot, we talk a lot about, and I know a lot of speculation in the news media and among people, when we're going to open this up, when we're going to open that up, what's it going to be? And those are all logical questions. But I think the most important question really is how we do it. Because if we do it right, we can provide as much protection as we can. There's always risk. Much protection as we can to our workers. Much protection as we can to everyone involved. And so the how is very important. Let me start with our first announcement on May 1. We're going to have a health care opening. I want to talk a little bit about why we'd slowed things down at hospitals. On March 17th, Director Acton issued an order in regard to non-essential medical procedures. Why was that order issued? It was issued because we needed to make sure that as the virus continued to spread, that we had enough hospital beds to take care of it, that we had enough personal protection equipment for our first responders, our hospital workers, people in nursing homes, et cetera. And we also wanted to utilize, make sure that we were having the social distancing. Well, again, you all have done a great job. The hospitals are not full. We have space. Done a good job of the social distancing. The one area that is still not quite where we want it is personal protection. It's coming. We've stood up more sources in Ohio and other places. We've secured more of this. But it's not exactly where we want it. And that is the thing that we remain concerned about. But we have a team that works on this absolutely every single day to try to secure more of the personal protection equipment. Our order that we're issuing for May 1, all health procedures that can be done that do not require an overnight stay in a hospital, we will be able to move forward with those procedures, operations or procedures. And I would ask you to remember that under the old order, when surgeries were necessary, even if the person stayed overnight, those were still allowed. For example, and this is from the order that was issued before, a threat to the patient's life if surgery or procedure is delayed. Those have always been allowed. 2, a threat of permanent dysfunction of an extremity or organ system or possibly the spread of cancer. those have certainly been allowed all through this. 3, pain. Someone has significant pain, and there's a procedure that can be done to alleviate that pain. Those have always been allowed. 4, the presence of severe symptoms causing an inability to perform the normal actions of daily life. So those have all been there. So we build upon those and then include any procedure that can be done where the person does not spend the night in the hospital. We also, dentists, veterinarians should also, beginning May 1, be able to be at full steam ahead. So all of this occurs on May 1. The only thing that is left is some elective surgeries, and as we see how we're moving forward and the availability of PPE, we will, when that time is appropriate, open that up as well. But this is a major change. And I know Dr. Acton will talk in a little bit about something that has occurred not as a result of our order, but something that has occurred because people have been afraid. People have been afraid to go to their doctor. People have been afraid to go to the hospital. And so, irrespective of these orders that have never blocked that, we have seen, for example, well baby visits have gone down. Many things have gone down. And Dr. Acton is going to talk a little bit about that and the importance of kind of getting back in the game in regard to making sure your children, making sure yourself are having the appointments that you need.